entertainment section of Impact. I'm your host, John Russell Cring, independent filmmaker. Today I'm wearing what I like to think of as my Michael Jackson coat. I don't know if it's more Thriller or more Beat It. You know, we'll have to let you, call in and let me know that. And we have a very, very cool guy here with us today, Prince Sprauve, independent filmmaker and producer and auteur, and a cool cat in his own right. And you are, we were just talking a little bit, and you kind of consider yourself almost like an underground filmmaker.
Yes, because actually I wasn't even expecting to make a film. It just kind of happened, I was actually shooting for a cinematic video, music video, kind of like a short film mixed with a music video, kind of like the Thriller.
Aha, there we go. Yeah, it's the jacket. I knew it. I knew there was a reason I wore the jacket.
So we was kind of shooting for like the thriller feel, the storyline, and then the music video. And as we kept, creating scenes, the kids kept creating scenes, and then I was like, before you know it, this is going to be something else. I mean, we have to keep it to a cinematic music video, and the kids convinced me at Schenectady High School that, Sprauve, why don't we just make a movie?
Well, that's what we're, what we're kind of leading into is that you teach, film at the Schenectady High School? How does that work?
Well, it's more so video production.
Okay.
It's actually TV production where kids get to learn commercials and documentaries and news stories of that nature. But I also run an after-school club called Revolution Studios. Okay. Where kids get to come and compose original beats and make original music and write their own lyrics. And then we record and we also have two previous albums that we had made. So it was never really intended for video. However, it kind of somehow incorporated through music videos, and then it just evolved from there.
Where did the idea that started out as this music video, where did the idea come from, and what was the process that created the evolution?
Well, what happened was I had made a beat. I had produced a beat, and I passed it off to some of the students, and I said, I want you to think of a concept for this beat, and I want you to think of, just write something. And they came up with a concept called Fast Life. It was a song. It started out as a song. And I said, you know what, this sounds pretty good. You know what, maybe I want to, shoot a music video for this with the kids. And I said, I just don't want to make a music video. I want to make something, I want to have, the storyline says Fast Life. So maybe we should incorporate like a storyline. And from there, the kids kept creating scenes and adding more scenes. And I was like, before you know it, this is going to be something else. And then I had about 30 to 40 kids screaming at me saying, Sprauve, let's make a movie. Let's make a movie.
Man. Now, these kids, have they ever acted before? I mean, did you actually write the script, or how was that process?
Well, the process was, I've never written before. The kids has never written before. However, the storyline, a lot of us came from that type of background. So we was able to, if you want to say naturally, act it out, because some of us, including myself, have lived that life before. So a lot of it was, I wrote maybe about half the script, and the kids wrote the other half. However, a lot of it was also improv.
Okay.
A lot of it was improv. When we got on set as a director, I knew what I wanted to see. However, we didn't always have the right lines, so we would let the kids act it out. What would happen in this situation in real life? Right. What would happen in a real situation if we was really in the streets? Would this go down? What would the terminology be? What would the slang be? What would the ebonics be? And the kids was able to come up, and I was able to direct and see, and I had a vision of what I wanted to see. Right. However, it was just more so the kids did a really good job improving, because most of these stories are their stories. Right. So these are their personal stories. So the acting kind of came, if you want to say, natural, because they didn't have to be nothing that they wasn't.
Well, that's happening a lot. I mean, in Sundance last year, Beasts of the Southern Wild was a movie pretty much of non-actors all improvising, on a certain level. And I believe the movie this year, Fruitvale, I think that's happening a lot more, where because we want to try to get to the reality of the situation.
Right.
Some white bread guy in Hollywood isn't necessarily going to understand fast life. Right. Unless we're talking about the fast food life.
Right. McDonald's. And
that's right. That's right. Hey, let's take a look at a clip right now, and I think we're going to get a feel of what you're talking about.
Okay.
When we choose the road to disaster, there's only a path of destruction.
I made it to my meeting. We all here for one reason. That's to get that money. We're gonna shut Schenectady down.
Yes, sir.
Every crew got a spot. The more money y'all make, the more money y'all keep. If y'all need some shoes, we going to the mall. If there's some beef, y'all better handle that. But we got your back.
Sometimes there's no way out.
Yo, speaking of your mom, son, where is she at?
Man, you already know, man. She outside doing her like she always do, man. Not even worrying about me. Cause you already know, man. I'ma do me. I'ma get out the hood, man. I ain't gonna be like anybody else up in this hood, man.
There's nothing you can do for me. I'm 18 years old. I'm about to graduate. Like, how can you help me?
Can you be honest? Can you at least tell me, how did you get the bruise? How did you get it?
25 years chasing quick money, Sean. Do you really want to give that up?
And I can't get a break, then you can't get a break.
I'm sorry. I should have been there for you. Remember that day I made that promise that I'd do something with my life?
All you gotta do is look presentable, you know, to use what you got to get what you want. It's very simple.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years? I ain't been thinking that far. To be honest with you, I'm just trying to make it through today.
See this man in your life?
No.
No? Never seen him?
Never.
A breaking point will make us face the only truth to escape this fast life.
That's your word? That's who you call your mans? I was your mans. I was your family.
Pito, answer my question. How old are you?
I'm 16.
From the minds of Revolution Studios, an epic urban tale of ruin, redemption, and restoration.
I'm all you got.
I got nothing.
I love you though.
I do.
I'm out of this game. I'm not doing this no more. Only way you getting out, son, is in the body bag.
Somebody just shot my knees. I don't know. 14 Chestnut Street. Oh my God, God. Oh my God, God.
Fast Life. Come to a theater near you.
Somebody help.
So it's obvious to me that, you know, this storyline involves sort of like the peer pressure that people feel in school. And there's a lot of talk right now about bullying, and there's a lot of talk about, you know, what's going on with that. What do you think that your film is saying that isn't necessarily being discussed in, you know, these other projects?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that we know this stuff is going on, and the message we're trying to say is, look, we know this stuff is going on. We're not just showing this stuff just to show it. We want to expose it so we can hold people accountable. You know, because the fact is, if we can drive by every single day in our neighborhood and see stuff that's going on and do nothing, then we're just as guilty as the people that's doing it.
Right.
You know, so I mean, the message is like, look, we're exposing it, and we want to let other students know that you're not the only one going through this. If something happened in your past where, God forbid, you was, you know, molested or anything to that nature, or you maybe experienced domestic violence, there are other kids that's going through the same exact thing.
Right.
You know, and sometimes when you are going through something, where you feel like you're the only person going through this and nobody understands, when there is help available, when there is an avenue for you to get help on these certain types of topics. And sometimes we can't just ignore this stuff and just say, you know, you're just a kid. You know, you're just a teenager.
Right. Because
these kids this year 2013, they're going through just as many problems as adults, if not even more. So they are our future. And if we don't nip this stuff in the bud now, then what's going to happen for our future? What is our future going to look like? Because these are the up and coming generation.
Right.
What's going to happen?
What is talk to me a little bit about the practical aspect of, okay, you're dealing with 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and sometimes it's like, this is fun until it gets hard.
Right.
You know, it's like all of a sudden it becomes a job, you know, and as someone who makes films, I understand that sometimes you don't want to be there, you don't want to be putting in the hours, but now these kids have basically committed to a feature film. How did you deal with that?
It was very stressful because they didn't really understand the vision I had, you know, and I didn't really expect them to really understand. I just wanted them to commit to the job.
Were they surprised by multiple takes?
Yes.
That's always the thing.
Yes.
It's like, why do we have to do this again?
Yes, why do you have to keep doing it?
Because you do.
And actually, they have a saying. I have a saying every time I film. I say one more time. And so from there, that's been like my key term with them.
Right.
They always say one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. And
they know you're lying.
Right. They do. But I think after like the middle of the film, they got used to it and they expected it. So when they came on set, they knew to at least give me 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
You know, give me 4 to 5 hours. You already know what type of set. You already know how I work. They got used to it. And then it kind of became a little easier.
Okay.
The hardest part was dealing with their emotional roller coaster. Sometimes they felt like the film was going to be a success, and then they had other times when they felt like, why are we doing this?
Right.
You know, and they didn't really understand that this is a major message. This is something really positive that you're really trying to send, not just for people, but for yourself. This is something that's going to go under your belt for the rest of your life. You can carry this under your resume. And it was very difficult because a lot of times I had kids sometimes who didn't show up. You know, I had to go hunt them down. I mean, literally, to their houses.
You had like a bow, man. You were just like, I'm getting you.
Yeah, I had to go to their houses. I had to talk to their parents. I had to call them. I had to other students talk to them. You know, it was a multitude of things that I did to keep them involved. I would talk to them, and a lot of times I would deal with their problems, you know, before I actually dealt with the film, because I wanted them to know that your problems is just as important, if not more important to me than the film.
Right.
If we don't make the film, I still want you to be successful.
Right.
Because it's not about me, it's about y'all.
Right. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. When is the film actually going to be showing?
Actually, April 25th, here at Proctors Theater.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a great venue to
It
do that.
is,
How did that end up happening?
Well, actually, I kind of, about last year sometime, I connected with Sarah Hill. And I had seen her in the hallway. It was a graduation going on here, and I mentioned the project to her. I put a bug in her ear, and she was very interested. I showed her a clip of the movie, and she was very impressed. And then from there, she said, well, when the movie is finished, you know, give me a buzz, and we'll talk. As I got closer to the movie being finished, I gave her a buzz. I emailed her, and I said, hey, Sarah, listen, this is what I'm working with. This is what I'm dealing with. And we met with the students. I had the students come down there, do a whole presentation, and just told them what exactly what was, you know, that we're trying to do, because we did this on a volunteer basis.
Right.
You know, it was all local communities, Ellis Hospital, you know, different local organizations donated to the movie. And this is a message that we're trying to get out, not just to Schenectady, but to the world.
What kind of locations did you pretty much just guerrilla this, you know, and just go out and shoot whether or not you had permission or not, or you had to find places?
No. We actually had to find places, and everywhere that we went, we got permission from. Because we didn't want it to come back and bite us.
Yeah.
Well, we shot at Newest Lunch. We shot at the correctional facility, Ellis Hospital, New Bethel Community Church. We actually did a funeral scene there. We actually had Deli's Funeral Home actually transport a casket to New Bethel Community, where the pastor there actually did a real eulogy. We had a student actually get in the casket. We actually, Price Chopper donated nothing but flowers for the funeral scene. We shot at Bell Cemetery. We shot at numerous homes. Parents is involved. About over 15
Sounds like an epic project.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it really is an intense project. You're talking over 130 students, 15 as Schenectady School District employees, 15 different parents, and you're talking over 10 local organizations that donated and helped to create this movie. So I couldn't take the credit for all of this.
So have you got the bug now, or do you want to direct? Do you want to be John
Yes.
Singleton? Do you want to be Spike Lee? You want to, you know?
Yes, it's definitely there. I definitely have a passion for it. It's like when I'm doing it, I don't even feel like I'm working.
Right.
You know, it just feels like something that I love doing. I mean, I don't even notice that the time goes by.
Right.
Sometimes 4 hours don't even feel like 4 hours. It feels like 30 minutes. And I love film because I can get my point across without nobody telling me I'm wrong.
Right.
It's my opinion.
Right.
Nobody can tell me that I'm wrong. This is my opinion, and this is how I feel about this subject, even though you may differ.
Right.
So I think for the most part, I'm very excited about it. I'm looking forward to new projects already. I already got some new ideas in my mind that I want to, you know, kind of settle in sooner or later. But I mean, for the most part, I love doing it. This is I know this is what I want to do.
Right.
I know.
Do you feel like what's kind of happened, which is sort of like there are films that, you know, an African American audience will go and see, and a white audience doesn't want to see, and it almost seems like a chosen segregation. Is that just a cultural thing, or do you think that that's something we have to work on?
It's something definitely we have to work on because a lot of time there's the bridge is kind of burnt.
I don't get Medea, man. I do not get Medea. I'm sorry. I've never laughed at Tyler Perry in my life.
And you know what? It's
I'm
also,
pasty, right? I'm pasty. I'm a pasty guy. All right.
But it's also a cultural difference. It's also a cultural difference because stuff that you have never experienced that you may not see as being funny,
right,
to us is funny.
Right.
You know, so like, and there's some things as culture-wise that you may think is funny that we don't think is funny.
Right.
However, it does need to be worked on, because the fact of the matter is that sometimes that don't just lead to just ignoring, but it leads to I don't want to know what you're about at all.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
And sometimes we have to be respectful to each other's ideas.
Right.
That's just the fact of the matter that we need to be respectful and acknowledge that you do have a cultural difference, I have a cultural difference, but that doesn't mean we have to dislike each other.
No, absolutely.
That doesn't mean that we have to disrespect each other's
and
work.
There are some great films that maybe get thrown out because you're just like, oh, you know, that was made by an African American filmmaker. I won't be interested in
right.
Who are those brothers who did like From Hell? They're like two brothers and they're filmmakers and they're really, really great. You know, but you know, I think that you know, I'd like to get to a point like we're now probably with women filmmakers where you can't tell the difference, man.
Right.
Who's making the film?
Right. And the fact is that everybody has a story, and it's about who wants to listen to that story. But when you're dealing with life,
right,
it doesn't matter what color it is because we're all experiencing it,
right?
In some to some form, to some degree,
right?
I mean, I may target urban areas, but what's going on in urban areas may go on in rich homes,
right?
And we don't know that, but it's just covered up by money and politics.
Well, look at I think the movie Inside Man that Spike Lee is an incredible movie because it's like he got his ideas in that movie, but that movie could have been made by Michael Bay,
right?
You know,
absolutely.
You know, and
absolutely.
It's such a great film. You know, so I think that it's amazing to me though how all of this kind of happened, and you know, here I am in sort of this film community, and I didn't even know that this epic film was even getting made. I mean, how are you going to get the word, aside from this? How are you getting the word out to let people know about it?
Yeah, well, first of all, we have a Facebook, Fast Life.
Fast Life, okay, great.
The name of it is Fast Life. It has some of the students' pictures up there. We already have about almost 300 likes. We started it last month.
Nice.
We have the trailer. The trailer's been up for almost about a month and a half. We already have over 3,100 hits.
Great.
I mean, between the school, we're going to use our resources. Every church, every local organization, every, community member, every parent, every student, every teacher.
And this could be a film festival film, too.
It definitely can.
Yeah.
It definitely can. And I think for the most part, the kids is going to help me make this travel.
Right.
You know, and we're not going to limit ourselves to just Schenectady. We're going to target Albany. We're going to target Troy. We're going to target Rotterdam. We're going to target Glenville. We're going to go beyond and beyond and beyond and let people know what's going on.
Were you shooting most of it yourself and directing, or did you have cinematographers and different people that were shooting?
No, actually I shot everything myself.
Okay.
I shot everything myself, and not only did I shoot everything, I directed everything myself. From time to time, I would incorporate the kids and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Tell me your idea. I mean, the disadvantages I had as a director is that I didn't have the privilege of going on set and scouting out my set.
Right.
You know, a lot of times when I went in parents' home,
been there, done that.
It was just for the first time.
I
had to think on the fly.
It's like,
that's it.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know how this scene was supposed to be in here? Yeah. Not in here no more. It's over here.
Yeah, let's switch it. Let's totally switch it.
Because that sucks over there. Right. That's an ugly corner. Okay, we're doing over here. Why's your corner so ugly?
Right. I didn't expect that flower to be right
there.
Yeah,
it's like, you mind if I knock out this wall?
Yeah.
No? Okay, we'll be over here.
I definitely didn't expect all this extra noise and
stuff.
But
oh my, that's the worst, man.
Yeah, and
like a bar.
Yes.
Oh my God, there's like so many levels of sound.
Right.
Oh my God, so
I mean, just from moving the bottles around and just private conversations is really, it's really tough. I mean, we did have a boom mic, but a lot of the scenes that we did outside, we have to do voiceovers for, and I have to recreate the ambient sound, which is tough
ADR.
Because a lot of times it's even hard to recreate the feeling. So, you know, while they're doing a voiceover, they have to do it over 1,000 times because I'm looking for the feeling inside of it. I don't want you to sound like you're reading it.
Right.
And that's been difficult. So, I mean, because the kids are not actors.
Right.
You know, nobody in the movie is an actor.
Right.
I mean, but we've been able to pull some good acting out because...
Do you act in it?
No, I don't act.
Okay.
I don't act, and the reason why is because I didn't really have nobody to work the camera.
Okay.
And you know what? And I wanted to really focus on the students.
Right.
I didn't really feel the need to act, or they wanted me to act, but I was like, I'd rather stay behind the camera.
Nice.
You know, I'd rather stay behind the camera and look what's going on and see how can I actually, you know, just help you guys, you know, just shine.
And there's a soundtrack associated with this.
Yes,
too.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. All the music inside of the movie is all originally composed from us.
Okay.
I mean, the kids, we use Logic Pro 8 on Macs, and the kids know how to produce beats. They know how to write their own lyrics. We record. I just took the music to another studio so it can be professionally mixed down.
Right.
I did the mixing and pre-mixing and stuff like that, and the kids, I had somebody by the name of Ryan Sanborn. He actually did the mastering on it for us, and which was great. And I mean, we have 10 songs. We started out with about 20-something songs, and we slashed maybe about 16 songs.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So, Fast Life. It's happening April
25th.
April 25th here at Proctors, and they can go to the Facebook, find out information.
Yes, definitely can go
get
to
tickets,
the Facebook.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and actually you can even look me up on Facebook also by the name of Prince Sprauve. I'm up on there, and I mean between my Facebook and Fast Life Facebook, you're definitely going to stay informed. I mean we're going to try to get the news involved, the Gazette involved, the Time Union involved. I mean everything. The world needs to know about this because these kids made it, you know.
Right.
And most of the kids inside of the movie are all graduating.
Right.
You know, so I mean, which is a good. The main star of the movie, which is Ashanti Davis, actually went from the 9th to the 12th grade in 1 year. So he was able to finish high school on time at 17 years old. Plus, he finished the movie.
Man, that's awesome. Well, listen, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It sounds like a really exciting project.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on the show, and hopefully this is going to be a success, and we can have this. I mean, maybe in the future we can do this again.
That'd be awesome, man. I can't wait to hear about your next project.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Impact, and I made a new friend, so that's always good. See you later.
Proctors, bringing the best in arts, education, and entertainment.